Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in, guys. Sergeant Moose here, back with another The First Descendant video, and in today's video, guys, we're going to be talking about the latest dev Q&A that just happened on their Discord, February 20th, and it was a long one, guys. It was a really good one, a lot of really good questions asked by the community and answered really well by the devs as well. So we went through every single question in the Discord, and we compiled a list of the best questions and answers, at least from what we thought, and it ranges from a wide variety of the future of the game, skins, all that stuff. So we're going to break it down here in this video, so sit back, man. We're going to talk about some of these questions, and I'll give you my thoughts on them as well. Let's jump into it. Now, guys, there were a lot of really good questions here that we took down, but in the effort of not making this video about 2 hours long, we're going to rapid fire through a few of these, but of course the most significant ones we'll stop and we'll talk about them a little bit too. But for the first question we picked, guys, it was a collaboration on a skin. So we did hear in the recent dev Q&A that they're going to be doing a collaboration in the summer, and they do mention here for the answer, the first collaboration is planned for Season 3, which will be updated in the summer. After that, we are preparing to continue collaborations regularly. If there's a collaboration you'd like to see, feel free to let us know. We'll take it into consideration when making plans. That's for the collab. We know we're getting the first one in the summer, and they have more planned after that. Somebody asks, are there any plans for difficulty beyond hard? And the answer is there are no plans for that at the moment. Right now, we are prioritizing high-end difficulty content and Descendant balance adjustments. For the third question, I thought was really interesting as well. Somebody asked about a companion app, and the answer is I probably shouldn't be leaking this, but the companion app is in development. Of course, we've heard that floating around quite a bit in the past, guys, regarding the companion app. Let it be known we are getting one. I cannot wait for that. I was a big fan of the companion app for Destiny when I used to play that, and I think it'd be really good to have one in this game as well. So we know that's coming. Somebody asked that I thought was interesting as well, talking about dual handguns or akimbo. They asked if we will see that in the future, and the devs respond with, akimbo is not included in our current plans, though it might be considered in the distant future. Instead, we have other exciting plans, so look forward on them. So I thought that was a really good question to ask the devs too, because, they are switching up some of the combat in the game, also making more melee-focused combat as well. So I thought that was a really good question there. No plans now, but maybe in the future. Now, here's another one, guys, that's been a big topic amongst the community. Somebody asks about ghost bullets and high fire rate issues. And the answer is, we are currently investigating the ghost bullet issue that occurs near the maximum fire rate. This issue arises when the fire rate exceeds the limits set for anti-cheat measures. If we ease this restriction, it could make anti-cheat enforcement more difficult, so we're reviewing whether a stricter fire rate cap is necessary. At the moment, we were working on determining the highest possible fire rate that could be allowed while maintaining effective anti-cheat measures. So I think that's interesting as well, guys, because, a lot of folks were talking about how, especially, on consoles, that a high fire rate can be affected by the frame rate as well. And again, this can be a little challenging with the developers because of the anti-cheat system, but they are thinking about maybe kind of bypassing that feature and allowing you to actually get the fire rate that you're supposed to be getting. Next question, guys, pertains to the leaderboards. Somebody asks if we're going to get leaderboards for the 400% missions, and I thought this was kind of actually a funny response. The answer says we are planning to expand the content covered by the leaderboard system. Of course, they did talk about that in their recent live stream. However, since the 400% dungeon can be cleared almost like a speed run, would a leaderboard really be necessary? And I have to agree with them there, guys, because, the tops of the leaderboards for these 400% would be just mere milliseconds away from each other, kind of like how the Purge is right now. So I don't know if a leaderboard would be really good in this category as well, but they will be expanding on it in some fashion in the future. Now, the next question asks, allowing old items such as old amorphous materials to complete the library 100%. So as you guys know, over the course of time, new content's coming to the game. They've introduced more amorphous material patterns, and some of the older ones became obsolete, and you can no longer obtain them. This has become an issue. If you're a completionist, you're trying to complete your library, you can no longer you can't complete it simply if you've never gotten those materials before, because you can't get them now. And they answer with, we will look into ways to allowing players to collect retired items to complete the library 100%. So, with that said, it looks like there's a good chance that those old materials may come back. Next question is allowing multiple loadouts for weapon cores. This has been, I'm so glad somebody asked this. I wanted to ask this myself, but I never thought about it last night. Really glad they asked this because that was like the biggest thing for me. And they say, this is a difficult issue to address, but we appreciate your feedback on such an important topic. Currently, the situation where players need to craft multiple copies of the same weapon for different setups was not the intended design. Cough, Albion Cavalry Gun. They say, we also do not believe that simply buffing weapons or different attributes will resolve the issue. Ultimately, we agree with your suggestion regarding core and option presets, I should say, as a possible solution. Our goal was not to make players craft and set up multiple copies of the same weapon for different content. Since this significantly increases player fatigue and raises the entry barrier excessively, we will discuss countermeasures as soon as possible. So, big deal right there, guys. You know, a lot of folks, I've actually made a video, an Albion Cavalry Gun video, recently on how to get through Purge levels 1 through 30 with the Albion Cavalry Gun. Unfortunately, you do need 2 of them, though, because you have to have one of the Albion Cavalry Guns set as, you know, shield type, and then you have to have one set as electric type, which can be difficult for players because that means you have to farm 10 Albion Cavalry Guns and fully upgrade them. So it can be a pain when you can simply just have a preset for weapon cores. It would make things a lot easier. So we'll see what they do there in the future with the cores. Now, the next question asks, other species of companions, such as horses or wild animals. Of course, we know we have the dogs now. We have the Labrador Retriever coming in the future. And they do say, we are reviewing a new type of companion beyond dogs. However, we really haven't discussed horses or wild animals. So take that as you will, guys. That may mean that there's going to be different types of animals for your companion. However, I don't know if it's going to go to the extent of horses, but it does sound really, really cool. I'm not going to lie. But probably not going to happen. But for the next question, guys, we have somebody asks, and I thought this was an interesting question that I didn't really agree with. Somebody asks about, can we open all Amorphous materials at once after a Colossus battle? So basically not every Amorphous material in your inventory, but the duplicates of the Amorphous material you're trying to open. He asks if you could just bulk open them all. I didn't really like this question because if you do that, that significantly reduces farming for materials, and it kind of strays away from the idea of the farming method in this game. So I am actually not a fan of that because, you know, most people, they could run in with 100 of the same material, open them all, and then they're done for the day. You know, they get everything they need out of their materials. But the devs do answer, there are no plans to introduce a feature that allows all Amorphous materials to be opened at once. However, we are considering ways to streamline the process of repeating a full cycle of intercept battles. For example, in private matchmaking, we could look at skipping the matchmaking loading wait time cutscene battle results phases, allowing players to repeat intercept battles without additional loading or waiting times. That said, we still need to figure out how to handle object regeneration after destruction, but that's something for the development team to work on. So I really like that answer there, guys. They still want to keep the farming method intact, have you face, you know, a Colossi and only get one Amorphous material, but they'd like to get that moving a little bit faster to where you don't have to reload back in every single time after you defeat a Colossus. You beat it, the match starts over immediately, and you get to go again. I really like that answer, and that'd be cool if they could implement something like that. For the next question, we have how much will be lost when transferring a normal Descendant's upgrades to an ultimate Descendant? Really good question there. The answer is, when transferring to an ultimate Descendant, all energy activators and crystallization catalyst on the regular Descendant will be carried over. So rest assured, guys, you know, I actually had this question myself. I assumed that's how this was going to be, but if you have a regular Descendant you've been working on, have no fear. If there's no ultimate version of that Descendant yet, go ahead. You can put your activators on it. You can put all of your catalyst on that Descendant, because once the ultimate comes out, you will be able to transfer that over once the system is implemented. Now, somebody simply asks a question about more skins. And the reason I included this one, because I thought the answer was really good. The dev says, as mentioned in the last dev live, we are increasing the frequency of skin production and releases through a large-scale expansion of the development team. If possible, we plan to release new skins about twice a month. This will, of course, include new universal skins as well. With this, we expect to see a significant increase in the number of head skins as well. So, really good answer there, guys. It looks like they're aiming for bi-weekly, bi-monthly, whatever you want to call it, with skins twice a month, with new universal skins and head skins as well. So I really like to hear that. The next question was asked, will Abyssal Colossus skins be reset in ETA 0 and we will lose? And I'm sorry, guys, I totally butchered that. Let me start again. The question is, will the Abyssal Colossus skins be reset, and will the ETA 0 vouchers, the quality ET vouchers, be reset at the end of this season before Season 2, Episode 2? And the answer is yes. With the release of Season 2, Episode 2, ETA 0's Abyssal Colossus skins and Call of Toys items will be updated, and previously accumulated quality certified ETA vouchers will be reset. So keep that in mind, guys. As we're approaching Season 2, Episode 2, if you have some of those quality ETA vouchers saved up, if you have 300 of them, you might want to go and spend them and get yourself a skin because they are going to reset. Luckily for me, I have been putting in a hell of a grind with this Abyssal Colossi skin, and we're only 3 away from having every single one of them for the Infernal Walker and the Defiler, so we should be able to get it done this weekend. Hopefully. We'll see. But for the next question, they ask, how many months until we see Descendant balance changes? Really good question there. And the devs say, after the last dev live, we reviewed a major balance adjustment for the Descendants. We even considered delaying the Season 2 Episode 2 update to prioritize balancing first. However, since many players are looking forward to new content updates and postponing Episode 2 would affect the Season 3 in the summer update schedule, we decided to proceed with Episode 2 first and implement Descendant balance changes in March and April. Unlike the previous balance adjustments, which targeted only selected Descendants, this update will focus on an overall adjustment in one go. Descendants that are already performing above the set benchmark will not be adjusted, while those falling below the standard will focus on this change. So there you have it, guys. I thought that was a really good answer as well. They did discuss they wanted to postpone upcoming Season 2, Episode 2, for more quality of life update with the balancing of Descendants, which I think would have been fine. I think a lot of us would have been okay with that because we know that, Descendants that we really like would be getting a much-needed upgrade. But it looks like, as far as a business standpoint goes, they want to get this Season 2, Episode 2 out first and then work on the Descendant. So we're going to see in a few months some of these Descendant changes. Now, somebody asks new updates on Serena, including skins. Basically, somebody's asking about a trailer or, more gameplay updates or something like that from Serena. And they answered with, look forward to more details about the new character Serena in 2 weeks. So there you go, guys. 2 weeks. We'll get more details, probably gameplay, skins, stuff like that for Serena, which I'm really excited about. Next one was a big one, too, for you mouse and keyboard players out there. Somebody asks if there will be a walk key implemented for mouse and keyboard players. And the answer says, I think I may have overlooked the walk key option. I'll request it again from the relevant team. So it does look like that at some point a walk key is going to be implemented as well. Somebody asks, will INES be the standard for balancing underperforming Descendants? This is a really good question. All right, guys, now buckle up for this one because it's a really detailed answer here. They say, we believe that INES is currently too powerful to be considered the standard. Our intended benchmark for balance is set around Descendants like Viessa, Valby, and Haley. Freyna is slightly overpowered, while INES is even beyond that. To be honest, we have concerns about whether we can resolve all balance issues purely through buffs without any nerfs. Not only does this affect the balance between Descendants, but it also limits our ability to design future content difficulty. As such, we are currently discussing within the development team how to evaluate and handle INES's current power level. On a related note, since I take a defensive stance on nerfs, the development team approaches the creation of new Descendants and weapons conservatively. If something is overly powerful, adjusting it afterward becomes difficult, so we prefer to release content cautiously and implement buffs when necessary. This balance is being carefully planned with a long-term content strategy in mind. Once we have concrete plans in place, we will provide a detailed update. Now, here's what I'm getting from this answer, guys, and, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, or let me know what you think about this as well, but it seems like the developers really, really want to nerf INES. However, they're afraid of the backlash they're going to get, and they want to stick to their standard of not nerfing any characters, but it seems like their backs are against the wall right now, and they realize that some of these characters they are releasing way too overpowered to be able to provide adequate content to be challenging for these characters. So honestly, it might come down to the decision that they absolutely have no other choice but to nerf INES. Let me know what you think about that, guys. And honestly, you know, I wouldn't be mad about that if they had to do that. I mean, I know a lot of people would be upset. Don't nerf stuff. Don't nerf stuff. Only buff stuff. It's a PvE game. Stuff like that. But, I mean, if it's affecting the future of the game and difficult content, I mean, some things just have to be done. So, it seems like that's what they're, you know, kind of leaning toward. Like, they want to do it, but they're afraid of what the community's going to think if they do it. But I say do it. Personally, I say just give her a nerf. It doesn't have to be anything major. Just bring her back down to Freyna or Bunny's level, you know? Next question, guys, we have about player housing, which I thought was really cool, too, as well. This has been another topic of discussion since launch, something I would absolutely love to see myself. They say it is still in our plans. We will share more details about the release timing later. So, I mean, there you have it, guys. It's confirmed. Player housing is coming. It's just a matter of when it's coming, so that should be pretty cool. Look out for that. Somebody asks, any plans for procedural or random map generation similar to the Void Vessel? And they answer with, a fully random map system presents significant design and technical challenges, so we do not have any plans to implement it. Additionally, it does not align well with the current level design of the first Descendant. However, since the game requires players to repeat missions for farming, we plan to introduce some level of randomness in missions similar to the Void Vessel to reduce monotony. The Sigma Sector mission in Season 2, Episode 2 also has incorporated this kind of random design. Guys, I am really excited for the Sigma Sector mission. I think it's going to be really, really cool. I really love the idea of the Void Vessel. I think it is extremely fun. Aside from the 400% infiltration operations, I think it's the best content in the game. And I think one thing that makes it replayable is because of the random and procedural, well, not really procedural generation, but the random generation of objects and different pathways to go through. That's what I really like to see. It looks like Sigma Sector is going to complement that as well. Somebody asks about gifting caliber to friends. Of course, we know this has been another topic of discussion about gifting things. They say, we have considered the ability to gift caliber to friends, but due to anticipated issues, we've decided to put it on hold. So probably nothing like that in the near future of the game anyway. Now, this is a big one too, guys. Somebody asks about skill-based damage in the upcoming Void Erosion Purge. Currently, skill-based damage dealers have limited effectiveness in Void Erosion Purge, which we do not consider an ideal situation. Even after growing through arcade tuning, skill damage dealers still struggle to perform well in Void Erosion Purge. So they're talking about testing with the arcade tuning, and apparently there's still issues with skill-based players getting through these higher levels of the Purge. So that's interesting. And they do mention a broad revision of the Void Erosion Purge combat balance is needed. Our approach will be to first adjust Descendant balance overall, and then improve Void Erosion Purge so that both skill-based and firearm-based damage dealers can perform effectively. So based on what I'm seeing there, guys, it does appear that they want to allow you to be able to have that diversity with both firearms and skills within the Purge. And it seems like they're going to try to rebalance the Purge itself to where you can take both, both ways to play into the Purge and still be effective. They do mention the Void Erosion Purge improvements are planned to be implemented alongside its expansion in April. However, as previously mentioned, we do not plan to add 10 new stages all at once. Instead, we aim to either refine the current 30-stage system or introduce a small number of high-level stages. So with that said, guys, it does appear that the levels 31 through 50 that were talked about in the past, they may not happen anytime soon. They want to work on getting this levels 1 through 30 on the right track, playable for all Descendants, skills and firearm based first before they move on. I really, really like that idea, and we'll see how that pans out in the future. Now for the next question coming in, guys, we have more areas to explore like Fortress and Kingston. This person's just talking about the different, regions that you can go to. Will we have more of those? And they talked about both types of updates will continue. However, since new fields need to be introduced alongside more content, they will be expanded over a longer update cycle. So there you have it, guys. We do know the new fields are coming into the game as well. That's really exciting there. Now, somebody asks about core expansion beyond level 10, and I thought this was interesting as well. They mentioned core levels will not increase beyond level 10. The expansion of higher stages in Void Erosion Purge is currently being reassessed based on player feedback. Rather than adding 10 to 20 stages at once, we are considering either maintaining the current 30-stage system or adding only a few additional high-level stages. So there you have it, guys. I think, at least for now, levels like 31 through 50 that they talked about have like pretty much been scrapped. It does appear that they want to improve and maybe even possibly just stick with this level 1 through 30 in the Void Erosion Purge and just kind of improve the quality of life around that itself, which I am totally fine with. I don't think we need to keep adding levels upon levels and higher difficulties in the Purge. So it's a good starting point here. We'll have to see how it pans out with that. Also, they ask improvements to open world and open world missions. This has been something I've been talking about too. They said, yes, we are preparing plans for new fields and new field exclusive content in the future. While we will continue to add matchmaking-based content, we also aim to develop more field-based content where players can encounter each other naturally and enjoy multiplayer experiences. Somebody asked taunt mechanic for AJAX to call aggro from enemies to make him feel like more of a traditional tank. I love this question, guys. If some of you may not know, but AJAX was my very first Descendant I played with in this game. I played with him for a long time. I actually purchased the Premium Ultimate AJAX bundle, and since that, I have barely ever used him, so I would love a reason to get him back out and have some fun with him. They do answer, we've received this suggestion quite a lot. I understand you want AJAX to function more like a traditional tank. While the first Descendant does not have a dedicated aggro system, some Descendants do have skills that provoke enemies. We will discuss with the development team whether a taunt mechanic can be implemented for AJAX. I love this. I love it. Now, the next question, I actually could not read or translate what the question was, guys, but the answer kind of just tells you what the question is anyway. It pertains to hotfixes. And the answer is yes, to focus on preparing for the Season 2, Episode 2 update, we will be minimizing hotfixes for the next 2 weeks. As planned, next week we will introduce the Albion Secret Service formal suit-style skins and focus on addressing critical bugs, while there will be no hotfix on March 6th. So keep that in mind, guys. There is not going to be any hotfix coming within the next 2 weeks, as we have regularly seen. Getting down to just a few more questions here, guys. Somebody asks for outfit presets for characters. Of course, they have talked about this on their dev live as well, and they did say we have added a feature that allows you to save customization settings and presets. This will be updated in Season 2, Episode 2. So, for that said, like if you have a certain Descendant and you have multiple ways you like to, customize your Descendant in terms of skins, you can now set these to loadouts. That way you can swap them on the fly. Now, the last question I thought was one of the most interesting questions of the entire Q&A, guys. Was a question pertaining to solo play. And the answer is what I thought was really interesting. And they did say, after a certain period, the game is set to proceed as a solo play. However, we will review whether it is possible to allow players to disable solo matchmaking as an option. So, I don't know what you guys get out of that. Take that as you will. But I thought the first sentence, after a certain period, the game is set to proceed as a solo play. Now, some folks thought maybe this meant that, they plan on implementing an offline mode to where eventually the game's going to sunset and go offline to where you'll pretty much only be able to play solo play. I'm just spitballing here, guys. I don't know, honestly, what that's supposed to mean. It could mean absolutely nothing. I don't know. But let me know you guys' thoughts about that down in the comments below, because I thought it was interesting, so I just wanted to talk about that. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, those, in my opinion, were the best dev Q&A questions that we had from the live stream last night, man. A lot of really good questions answered there in not the live stream, but the Q&A on Discord, I should say. There were a lot of really good questions answered there. But yeah, let me know you guys' thoughts about that down below. How do you feel about the future of the first Descendant? Did that answer a lot of questions for you? And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, man. If you did, please feel free to hit that like button, man, if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel for all things the first Descendant news, builds, videos, all that cool stuff. My name's Sergeant Moose. We'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.